Cooking. One thing I get asked a lot about is dehydrating stuff. So, might as well take you along for the ride. I start with minced turkey, extra lean. The reason I use this versus mince or ground chicken or beef is it has the least amount of fat on it. This is per 100 grams. It only has 6 grams of fat. Fat is the bane of a dehydrator. It will not evaporate unlike water. So you want to get as much of that out of the meat as you can. What that does mean though is that it gets tough and stringy. So I also mix in breadcrumbs with the meat. 1 cup per pound of meat. So that's what it looks like. You need to sort of mix it around. Now, the idea behind putting breadcrumbs in the meat, I probably use too much in the way of breadcrumbs. You could probably get away with half a cup. The idea with breadcrumbs in the meat is that it won't affect the flavor of it, but it will give you, it will absorb more water when you go to actually rehydrate it in the bush. And yeah, I've had tremendous success. Let's chuck this straight in the frying pan. I'm going to cook this on a low temperature because while it doesn't have a lot of fat, it will burn easier. Just going to sort of open this up a bit. So while that's cooking, what I'm doing is getting my dehydrator ready. This is the unit in question here. I've got it turned on, just warming up. I'm setting it right around the middle. It's not an exact science. I usually do about 135 for 8 hours. Again, it depends on what you want to do. Herbs and spices don't need nearly as long, but since I'm going to be doing some bell peppers, the ground turkey, and pasta sauce, I'm going to need to cook it for quite a while. You can't really overdo it. You can underdo it. You'll know that it's done because the meat is really, really hard, crumbly, almost like chalk. You will know that the pasta sauce is done when you can peel it and it feels just like fruit leather or regular leather. I find that crumbling up it into little itsy bitsy bits, tearing it apart, really, really helps the rehydrating process. It takes a bit of time, but it's worth it in the long run. And bell peppers just pop straight back. Same with any fruit. Eggplant dehydrates very well as well. First question I'm always asked, you dehydrate pasta sauce? How do you do that? I use this parchment paper. You'll note that there's a lot of holes in these, so you clog them up with parchment paper. Doesn't have to be exact. All you're really looking to do is hold the pasta sauce on it. I cut a hole in the middle so that the air flows through it. And yeah, you just pour your sauce onto that, spread it out as thin as you can, and wait 8 hours. My dehydrator does not have a timer. It's a relatively inexpensive one because I don't use it a lot. You can get ones that have built-in timers. What I do is I just pluck a Christmas light timer down on it, and I find that that works just fine. So, we're just about ready to get stuff going here. Meat's almost done. And let's get dehydrating! So with the pasta sauce, I just put dollops on and used a silicone brush to spread it out. You want it nice and as thin as you can get it, but you want there to be substance there too so that you can peel it off once it's done. This is just enough for me. I'm only going for the weekend, but if I had to do this whole can, I would probably use every single tray here to the full potential. I did the math once, and for 4 people for 4 days, I had the dehydrator running pretty much more than I was canoeing. But so that's pasta sauce. I'm going to do the sauce, and I'm going to do the bell peppers and meat all together. I usually put meat and stuff on paper as well because it's just easier to clean up, and little bits of bell pepper can fall through those. So the meat is done. You can see I've put it in a strainer. What I'm going to do is pop hot water on it for about 2 minutes or so. What that's going to do is it's going to take all the fat, put it that's left in it. There's not a lot to begin with, but I was going to put that down the drain, just removing anything that might not dehydrate. You can do this with beef and chicken. You actually have to do it more, but I'd prefer to be safe than sorry, so they say. I find that when you're doing it, you sort of want to break the bigger chunks into smaller ones. You don't want anything really bigger than that because that's going to take forever to dehydrate. So smash it up in the pan, smash it up here. It'll just mean you have less time to cook. So I've put the actual stuff dehydrating on the very bottom of this unit. In 8 hours, the timer will click itself off, which will stop this thing. Tomorrow morning, I'll rip the leather off of the paper and put everything into little bags. The actual, I weighed it, the whole meal will weigh less than this empty can. And obviously take up less room. I don't know how long it'll last for. I would suspect about 2 weeks. To be honest, I've never had to take dehydrated food out longer than that and have it be suspect. You can also freeze dry it, or freeze wrap it, vacuum seal it, then freeze it. And I've heard those will last for months. But I'll get back to you when this recipe is done. So, we're all done. It's now morning, and I've had my coffee. And everything's coming along really well. I've actually already peeled most of the pasta sauce off. As you can see, it's all nice and sort of leathery. What I'm going to do is tear this up into itsy bitsy little pieces and put them into a plastic bag. I usually reuse the plastic bags myself. No sense in letting it go to waste, right? Wash it out, it's fine. But the smaller the pieces, the easier it'll be to rehydrate out in the bush. And vegetables also came out well. You can see the bigger chunks are all sort of rocky, but they'll come back really nice because they've got those breadcrumbs in them. And the bell peppers are just little dried things. But I'll show you how to rehydrate this in a second. So now out in the bush, we've got our little baggie full of ground turkey and pasta sauce, and a cup, and water that's boiling. Well, it's got to boil for a bit longer. So what I'm going to do is put some of this into there. I probably don't need all of it because it's just meat night. And then you'll cook your, I'll show you, I'll add water to it. Let that sit while I boil the pasta in the pot. And we'll get good hearty grub. Alright, so got the sauce, leather, vegetables, and turkey in there. Boiling hot water in here. That's been rolling for a couple minutes now. So there's no real exact measurement here. You do want it a bit on the thick side, so yeah. Stir that about a bit and cover it, leave it for 20 minutes while I cook the pasta. There you have it. Spaghetti dinner ready to go. Everything's rehydrated really well. It only took about 10 minutes. And even the red squirrel is jealous. I'm gonna dig in.